All right, let's go ahead and get into it. The Boston Celtics versus the Philadelphia 76ers. We're in the end game now, a true end game series, a series that we've been looking forward to all year. The Bucks, we thought they would be waiting for on the side, but I guess not. Giannis is talking about, in philosophical terms, things are not a failure, and Michael Jordan wasn't a failure, and all that good stuff. But we have the Celtics and the Sixers. There's major storylines here, a lot of all-season intrigue. What happens to Jaylen Brown? What happens to James Harden if they lose this series? Can Joel Embiid come back healthy and dominate? Does Jason Tatum put his mark on the series? A lot of questions, but let's go ahead and get into it. Let's start with the Boston Celtics. The questions for them going into the series. The number one question would be Joe Mazzulla. Obviously, the Boston Celtics went to the finals last year, but they went with Ime Udoka, not Joe Mazzulla. All the stuff that happened, I really don't know what happened, but Joe Mazzulla got the job, and the Celtics were the number 2 seed, number 2 overall record in the NBA. But if you know any Boston Celtics fans, if you have anybody in your life that pays any attention to the Celtics, you know that they are not happy with Joe Mazzulla. They are not happy with his rotations, in particular Grant Williams and Derek White. They're not happy with his strategy of not calling timeouts when other teams are going on massive runs, like happened in Game 5 with Atlanta. So this is going to be a big series for him. If you were to rank the coaches, this obviously goes to Doc Rivers. I think it's a massive mismatch. So I think all eyes are going to be on him. I talked about the rotations, and in particular, Derek White over Marcus Smart. That has been a topic of conversation. Me personally, I don't think he has the stature in the locker room to do that. Say if he were to take out Marcus Smart, someone who's been here through the wars, and they were to lose a game, Marcus Smart is probably going to pop off in the media, and you might end up losing the locker room. It was always telling to me that all of the players made it known that Ime Udoka was their favorite coach, and they all said, "Hey, this is not a shot to Joe Mazzulla, but like if you get in a new relationship and you keep on talking about your old wife as the love of your life, this is kind of hard for you to build something in the new relationship. You feel me? So." Joe Maz, I think he's the number one question. My second question have to be Robert Williams. He came up gimpy in Game 5, and in particular, Robert Williams has kind of been a bellwether for their team. When he plays, they're just a different type of team. They have different type of verve going downhill. He is the best rim protector on the team. Obviously, in this series, his main assignment is going to be Joel Embiid. Al Horford's 37, to ask him to take on that responsibility. Dolo is kind of hard. Can he stay healthy throughout the series? Even if he's playing, what type of shape is he going to be in? So I would say Robert Williams definitely has to be the number one question. And I'm really interested to see what he looks like and how he holds up against Joel Embiid. And finally, my last question would have to be the Boston Celtics three-point shooting. Under Joe Maz, he's kind of emphasized, the analytical approach of shooting as many threes as possible. If you look at Jason Tatum's shot profile, this is the lowest amount of three-pointers in contrast to mid-range jumpers in his career. I think he shoots 10% of his shots from the mid-range now, and that was a big part of his shot diet. So, this team has shot a tremendous percentage from the three-point line. If you look at the percentages, you would think you were talking about the Warriors. Derek White has had a career year. Brogdon has had a career year. Brown has had a career year. Ironically, the only guy that's not really shooting it that great from three is Jason Tatum. Is this just the new normal? Derek White came in the league as a non-shooter, got traded to the Celtics as a non-shooter. Is this just who he is now, or does that catch up to you in the playoffs? In the playoffs, three-point percentages go down. You can look at the Sacramento Kings situation with Herter, one of the best shooters in the league. He kind of struggled to make shots versus the Warriors. Is this something that falls off in the series, or is this something that's just here to stay? And these guys are three-point shooting mavericks, but if they do struggle a bit, if that percentage goes from 40% to 35%, 33%, you have a couple of games where you're missing 14 threes in a row, 15 threes in a row, as what happens in the playoffs, that would portend to trouble for the Celtics. So the Celtics three-point shooting is my last question. On the Sixers side, the number one question is obviously the big fella, Joel Embiid, the presumptive MVP. what is he going to look like? He's been off for a week. This was an injury, the LCL injury that was theorized to be a 1 to 2 week injury. Say if it's 1 week and he's able to get a couple of days of practice in, that would be great. But say if it's even on the good side and that's the case, the way that this series is going to be structured, they're going to be playing every other night. So, where's his conditioning is going to be at? Even if he was in tip top shape, I would think that would lead to trouble. Carrying a bulky knee with games that fast and furious, that might be hard for him to do. Joel Embiid has been injured throughout his career in the postseason. And, Zach Lowe and I, for one, have theorized that this is an opportunity to really stamp himself as a guy. Giannis is out, right? He's going to win the MVP this year. Giannis is out on the other side. Whoever wins this series is the presumptive Eastern Conference candidate to represent them in the finals. Can Joel play and can he dominate if he does play? That's a big question. Something that I've thought of and strategized if, the Sixers are to come out there and win game one. Would it be smart to rest him for game two, take the split in Boston and, use that as an opportunity to get Joel some rest so the mileage isn't stacking on him, as well as not the risk of re-injury. So that might be something to look forward to. The second question that I would have for the Philadelphia 76ers has to be James Harden. You saw the video. He's over there smacking people in Philadelphia, smacking people in Vegas, excuse me, at Dre's function. And, I've had a couple of nights during Dre's, but, James Harden has a lot of pressure going on with him this season. And like, man, can you leave Vegas for a second? Can you focus on the basketball for a second? I know it's his off day. There's nothing illegal. There's nothing wrong with it. But this is a guy whose career has been defined with great regular seasons and struggles in the playoffs. Can he break that curse? Hey, he has money. He probably, got a private jet and went down to Vegas. There's nothing wrong with it. But the focus is this focus going to be there. If you watched him in the Nets series, he missed a ton of shots at the rim. If that happens this series, the Sixers are done. They can't beat the Celtics with him playing like that. Can he break his curse? Can he, turn the tide and really break through in this playoffs? They're going to need him to dominate. Some of the success that Trae Young and Murray found in pick and roll switches, going at Horford or going at whoever is in that 4 position, that might be something that Harden, if he's paying attention to, might look at. They need a dominant series from James Harden. This is a chance for him to right the previous wrongs and really put his stamp on the series. So James Harden has to be the number 2 thing. And the final question for me is Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris is probably going to have to guard Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. He gives up a little bit in foot speed to these guys, but he definitely competes. PJ Tucker seems like he has been reborn in this playoffs. He's given them everything that you can ask for, in particular that game without Joel Embiid. He was crashing the boards. He was everywhere. Defensively, he was guarding Bridges when he was switched upon him. So I'm not concerned about him, but they got 2 of them. They got Tatum and Brown. So, Toby's going to have to guard one of them. Is he up for the challenge? I think he is. He always competes. In particular, the last game that they played against the Celtics, he was, very competitive. He's going to get some help from Melton, get some help from McDaniels. But, Tobias Harris, his defense and his scoring. Generally, if you get a good scoring Tobias Harris game, the Sixers are impossible to beat. If he's making his threes in the corner, he's alleviating pressure off Joel Embiid, they're pretty hard to beat. So does he come in with this game plan of attacking? He attacked that game that Joel did not play, game 4, and Brooklyn was one of the main reasons that they won that game. Do we see this Tobias Harris? Does that continue versus the Celtics? All right, we're going to go prediction time. It's hard to make a prediction in this series because I don't know if Joel is playing or not. And if he does play game 1, what type of Joel are we getting? This is a guy that, has struggled with conditioning. There's a lot of factors, re-injury, the tightness, the compact nature of the schedule. But I'm going to go with the Sixers. I'm going to go with them breaking their curse. I'm going to go with them fighting, competing, battling hard. I didn't like some of the things I saw from the Celtics in the Atlanta Hawks series, and then in particular the coaching mismatch. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to go with the Sixers to win in 6. So, don't hold me to this. If Joel misses multiple games, then oh well. But I'm going to go with Sixers in 6. All right, let me know what you think. Leave me a comment, subscribe. And as always, the game is the game.